Hello, Robert. I told you last night that I'm going to be doing it starting at 12:30 to give you some extra time today. Did you get the PDFs? We're going to have a very interesting lesson today. And it's going to deal with 3 against 2, 3 against 4 in all 4 limbs. So get ready to get dizzy. Okay. You did get the sheets, right? All right, good. Well, we might as well start. If they don't want to come at 12:30, what can I tell you? All right, if you look at the sheet, the first line you have a key. You have the snare drum, the floor tom-tom, bass drum, and hi-hat. Okay? Now, the figure that, see, there's a couple variations of playing 3 against 4. And what I wanted to do was just send out the PDFs for you guys to look at and drop some questions. Okay? So, 3 against 2 is actually 6 against 4. All right? But we're not going to worry about that. And 3 against 4 is actually half note triplets against quarter notes. That's 3 against 4, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to subdivide the triplet. If you remember what I said, first let me introduce you to the figure, line 2. You have a dotted 8th note and a 16th. So this is in 3/4, by the way. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and that's the figure we're working with. Okay, now go to the 3rd line. And all that is, who we got here? Oh, I got to move this computer in. I can't be bending down like that. Yuri, how are you? All right, the first line is just this 3rd line rather, is 3 against 1. I mean, that's not even a polyrhythm. That's like playing a triplet with your left hand and a quarter note on a downbeat with your bass drum. For example, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1 and 2 and. But technically, that's 1 against 3. All right, the next guy is 3 against 2. This time what I did there, just to make the limbs go over the place, all right, I'm using now the snare drum and the hi-hat. So I'm counting this in 3/4. I'm counting 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and but when I'm doing 3 against 2, I try to count it as 1 and 2 and 3 and to lessen the count. So I go to 3 against 2. I got 1, 2, 3. So what I'm doing is I'm playing an 8th note triplet with my left hand and playing 8th notes with my hi-hat. So you have the 3 and the 2 inside of the first downbeat. So if I put the downbeat on 1, 2, 3, you'd have 1. Got it? Good, all right, I got it. All right, then 3 against 4. I'm going to be going over this in a little while again, probably, when everybody straggles in. But now 3 against 4. The top line there is on the snare drum. It is 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. Now I'm going to play this on the floor tom-tom, the 4. So I have 1 E and a 2 and. Get it, Bob? Yuri, you got it? All right. Now, that's just an introduction. And you see on the second page what I've done, and we're not going to do that today. Now, where did I do the second page? Over. Oh, when you get old like me. When you do the second page, what you're actually doing is you're doing 3 on the top and you're doing 4 on the bottom. Okay? And we're using the stick control book. For example, if I look at line 1, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'm thinking of the line now as 1E and 2E and. So the 1E and is the 4. Now this is a little difficult, so I don't know if I want to go there. So I'm doing, all the rights are going to become 1, all the lefts are going to become the bass drum. So you can have 1E and 2E and 3E and 1E and 2E and 3E and that's how I'm getting my 4. But I'm using alternate strokes between the bass drum and the floor tom-tom against the triplet. 1E and 2E and 3E and. That's a little difficult. So we're going to go backwards a little bit. We're going to stay with 3 against 2. Yori, do you understand what we're doing? Polyrhythms, triplets against 16th notes, triplets against 8th notes. All right, so let's go to 3 against 2. 3 against 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play 3 with my bass drum. Now remember when I said to you when I count triplets, I count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and for subdivisional reasons I count the triplet 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Got it? So now I'm going to play 8th notes, which is my left hand, on the snare drum against the triplet. Got it, everybody? So now, we're going to go back to the stick control book, and we're going to take the first line as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, and that's going to be 8th notes, and we're going to play 8th note triplets with the bass drum. 1, 2, and 3. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, how you doing, Paul? Everybody's having a problem with their connection. Yeah, you watch the video afterwards if you can, and I'm going to send you the PDF for this lesson. Okay, I don't have it all written out. I have some of it. I have it introducing you to 3 against 2, 3 against 4. So I will, I'll send you the PDFs that I have to help you out with the lesson. How you doing, Paul? Now, 3 against 2 is like, it's pretty commonplace. I don't know, you guys ever play the blues? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ba-do. You hear it in there. All right. I did say we're going to do some reading. And I'm going to stay true to my word. And, I know that Bob and Paul, and I'm not sure about you, Yari. I don't know what your capabilities are. But you take something like from the Syncopation book, a very simple page. Let's go to page 10, lesson 4. Now, like I said, you guys buy the syncopation book, you have a teacher, you go from the beginning to the end, you close it and say, all right, that's it, I could play it. Well, it's not happening that way. So we're going to make this a little bit of a challenge. I know everybody here that's watching this or listening to it right now can play that line as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, how about if we play the line playing the bass drum on the 1? We're going to do the 3 with the left hand. And we're going to play what's written. So we'll refer to that as the melody line on the floor tom-tom. A little faster. Do you understand that? Paul, Robert, Yari, 3 against 2. We're playing 3 against 1 with the bass drum. I explained that before on the sheet. And then you're playing the line that's written with your right hand over here on the floor. Make some interesting patterns. Now I'm locked in to the bass drum, the snare drum, and the floor. All right, so I got 1. Let's go to the second line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now notice how clean the triplets are. They're one sound. The melody line that we refer to as the line that's written, we're playing a little bit louder on the floor tom-tom. Okay? Let's see what we got. All right, Robert and Yori and Jim. Jim. All right, well, you missed the lesson. You're late again. Paul, put him in the timeout chair. Okay, so we're on a stick control. The syncopation book line. Let's go to line 3. We're doing that 3 against 2. Notice that bass drum is on the 1 always. So I have a combination of polyrhythms, 3 against 1 against 2. And you have the sheet. Line 3. A little faster, line 1. Everybody getting this? Actually, I should be using a metronome. However, the cable that I have going into my system is shorted out. I ordered a cable a week ago, and I'm still waiting on it. Jim, do you understand what we're doing? Ding dong, ding dong, ding. All right. You want me to come back to the syncopation book or go back to the stick control book? This is a really simple one. We'll go back to the stick control book until more people come in here so we can read. Okay, so now, if you remember the exercise, R equals 3 rights. L equals 3 lefts. So the first line would be, and 3 more times. Now we're going to play that exercise on the snare while the bass drum is playing the 2. Get it? Line 3. Everybody see what I did? Okay, we got it? Good, Jim, you got it. Paul, Yuri, Robert. I think Yuri keeps getting booted. All right, well, that's just another way of doing it. See, when you do the stick control book, you first learn it in the full strokes. Who wants to do that shit? But that's a very important lesson. Actually, probably the most important lesson ever. To learn how to operate the sticks and make that right stick and the left stick sound the same. All right, now, I can do a variety of things here. All right, but I'm just making it simple. You're doing the 8th note triplet on top. 1, 2. And your bass drum is plowing the 2. So I don't want to get too deep into that, but that's another way to do it. You can use alternating triplets. You can do triplet fill-ins against the 2. That gets a little hairy, so I wouldn't go there yet, but you will in a week or 2. Okay? You like this, Robert and Paul and Jimmy and Yuri? You like this kind of stuff? I'm going to give you one more exercise from the stick control book pertaining to polyrhythms. This time, instead of 3 against 2, we're going to use 3 against 4. Does everybody here understand how 3 against 4 flows? If not, I'll re-explain it. You have it on the sheet. The 3, I'm counting, I'm subdividing. Remember, I'm subdividing the triplet. I'm no longer at this point or doing exercises like this, counting the triplet like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And eventually I will when I get the speed up there. Or I'm not counting the triplet 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, or 1 ta-ta, 2 ta-ta. Whatever really works for you. But at this point, I'm counting the triplet. I'm subdividing the triplet. Instead of 1 and I'm counting 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So, Gavin, how are you, Gavin? If you play that exercise, the triplets, and I say, all right, that's the first right. Now let's make that as a triplet, 3 rights. Let's play 3 against 4. See that? And you go to the left. Got it? It's not easy. It really makes you dizzy, man. And me with this occasional bipolar, man, I'm in outer space right now because I'm thinking of the bass drum in 4. I'm playing in 2 different time signatures, really. I'm playing in 4/4, plus I'm thinking in 3/4, plus I'm developing the exercise that I'm explaining, plus playing it against the 4. That's a lot of shit going on, man. It'll make you a little dizzy. Well, me, very dizzy because I'm old. But you want to play the 3. You're going to play the 3 on top. 1, 2, 3. Now, the way I hit that is I subdivide that count. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and. Do you guys see that? You want me to break it down a little bit more? because you could do line 2, for example. Line 3, rather. 1. All right, I'm going to ask one time. Okay. Would you like me to break that down a little slower, gentlemen? All you need to do is say yes or no, if you understand it. See, now the stick control book becomes not just what it is, but what it should be. What he not intended, but you're developing, you're being creative, and you're consolidating your practice. When I'm doing the triplets in full strokes on the snare drum, I'm practicing full strokes. When I'm subdividing, I'm playing the polyrhythm. And then when the metronome goes on, I'm playing in tempo. So there's quite a few things going on, like I said. Jimmy, you understand it? Okay. No, you got it, Paul. Gavin has got it. How about you, Robert's got it? All right, good. Okay, so you want to do, you can reverse that. What we did was we played the 4 constantly with the bass drum. R was 3 rights, L was 3 lefts. So that's 3 against 4, utilizing those 2 voices. That bass drum was constant on the 4. What was changing on the 3 were the hands. Right, 3 rights, 3 lefts, 3 rights, 3 lefts. Now you could reverse that. If you remember the exercise we did with the stick control book, as R equals 1, E, and da, and L equals 3, 4 lefts. So you have. So we're doing 16ths now on the top. And now we're going to do 3 with the bass drum. Now I get crazy with this, but I don't want to, because I don't want to overwhelm you. Just understand the difference between 3 against 2 and 3 against 4. These variables that we're doing with the triplets on the top, the 4 on the bottom, the 4 on the top, the triplets on the bottom. Now let me tell you something. I'm willing to write these out, but we're talking like, a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. So all I can promise you is this. When I get a little bit of open time, I'm going to write as much as I can. And then again, when I get a little bit more time, I'm going to write some more at it. So I'm going to supply you now with these 2 different exercises, maybe 3 different exercises. All right, there's a lot to do, and it never stops. And things start opening up, and all these permutations come to view, and you just become creative. But you're still not, you're not going to use something like, you might use it in a tune, I don't know. Depends on what kind of music you're playing. When I say 3 against 2, it's more commonplace in the blues, okay? A 6/8 blues. Because you're counting the 6/8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I subdivide that into 3/8, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So there's a lot going on there. So I'm not, get some emails that I'm a constant complainer, and I'm not complaining, I'm just telling you the truth, okay? It's like, when you first started to take drum lessons, you open up the Syncopation book and you learn it from cover to cover, then you close it and you put it away. Man, that's pretty shallow. You need to be creative. Now, I want to keep Tuesdays, right? Tuesdays, the 1 p.m. lesson open for reading, and a 7 p.m. lesson open for reading. Now I figured, because we're working on the polyrhythms, 3 against 4, 3 against 2, let's take a reading page from the syncopation book. I can start out very simple, but if you guys understand the 3 against 1 to 3 against 2, it's not a problem. We can go to page 20 if you'd like. You're going to have 3 against 4, 3 against 1. Or we can go to page 22. Your choice, gentlemen. We go to page 20. We're going to have 3 against 4, 3 against 1. I know that, Jimmy. That's why I write it out. But I keep it in my files and I put it on my external hard drive so I always have it. And it's something I should have to do. Not a problem. Now turn to the syncopation book. Your choice. Page 20. Or yeah, let's go to page 20. Everybody have the syncopation book out? Page 20. Let me know when you have it out. I don't want to start until you have it. Well, it's a feel, it's a commonplace, but I'm breaking it down mathematically, and I'm trying to consolidate your practice time. You know, you're doing full strokes on the snare, okay, and you're doing in 16ths, and you're doing triplets with the bass drum, or vice versa. So you're developing a sense of time, your endurance with the bass drum, and the coordination of the 3 against 4, 3 against 2, or vice versa. All right, it's page 20. Paul, Robert, Jim. Okay. Yuri, do you have it? And Gavin, do you have it? The stick control book, page, there's only 3 people, page 20. Okay. So let's start page 20. I got to get my music stand over here. Jesus. All right. Now. Let's just do the snare drum and the bass drum, okay? Let's play 3, the snare drum will do 3. See that? Now I'm thinking 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the. Now while I'm playing that triplet, I'm going to play the melody line, the written line, line 1 with the bass drum. It's simple, you understand it, but sit here and work on it, you're going to find there's a different kind of feel going on. Okay, you understand the first line? Now you could do 4 on the top and 3 on the bottom. Okay, we understand that. I could break it down somewhat. Let's hit line 5. We're going to do triplets on the top. And what's written there, the melody line with the bass drum. So I'm going to use just my snare drum and bass drum, but you can use any combination you'd like, as long as you have the 3 going on. Okay, so we're on line 5. You don't want, Robert? You don't get it? Is that the question? All right, if you can give me the question, I'll answer it if I can. See, the delay just drives me crazy. I ask a question and I get different answers for different things I've asked because of the delay. Now, Robert, just Robert only, everybody. Robert, do you understand what we're doing? Yes or no? All right. Let's start with the 3 against 4, okay? What I did was I took an exercise that you had on one surface. Let's start there. Doing triplets. 1 and the 2 and the. You remember that one? And the norm was to play the bass drum on the counts of 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, before I go any further into it, do you remember that exercise? R becomes 3 rights, L becomes 3 lefts. You get that one. So the R, the first R, 3 rights, is an 8th note triplet. So that would be 1 and da. Or the way I'm counting it, 1, 2, 3. That would be 3 rights. So I see a left, I'm referencing off the stick control book, 3 lefts, 2 and da, or 1, 2, 3. Paul, you get it, okay. I'm trying to help Robert. I don't want to go any further until he understands what I'm doing. You remember the three strokes in each hand. Okay, so we're taking the 3 strokes, Robert. All right, if I said, all right, no bass drum, just the hands. So if I went 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What I did was I referenced off that line. I did the first right, left, left. But I didn't count it 1 and a 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. I counted each triplet as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's 4 times I did the triplet. I have 3 more times to do that. So you have 2 options here. The first option was 3 against 2. The 3 on the top and the 2 with the bass drum. 1, 2, 3. Watch. Now I'm going to put the bass drum in. 1, 1, 2, 3. Sorry. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. That's one option. You got it? Now, we're taking the same thing on the stick control book, but now we're changing what right becomes and what L becomes. This time, R is going to become 4 16th notes. L is going to become 4 lefts, but they're 16th notes. Ryan, how are you? What is this? What did you say? No problem, Ryan. We'll use just the drum pad for you. Go back to sleep. How are you, Ryan? Is this your first time here, Ryan? You understand it, Robert, right? So now we're going to go to the second exercise, of R equals 4 rights, L equals 4 lefts, and we're going to play the triplet, okay, with the bass drum. So the first time I play, what? I'm so much. Do I know you, Ryan? I'm getting uglier because I'm getting older. All right. Thank you, Jim. All right, anyway, we're taking the 16th notes on the top as the exercise. Simple exercise. Now we're going to play an 8th note triplet, okay, per grouping. So we got... Do you understand that now, Robert? Excuse me. Robert, do you understand it so far? I'll break it down a little bit more. It's not a problem. I think what's going to help you, I can't promise you you're going to have it tonight or tomorrow morning, but I'm going to start writing all this stuff down as a supplementary thing for the stick control book formulas. Okay? Good, okay. Now, Ryan, do I know you? You said we met in person? Who might you be? Ryan who? Okay. We're going to go to the stick control book. I mean, the syncopation book. If everybody understands what I just went over, 3 against 2, 3 against 4, and a few variations utilizing the stick control book. All right, let's go to, not something difficult, but it's going to have a lot of fun. I don't want to get into any complicated rhythms. You know, the complication starts, I would say, on page 24 with the polyrhythms. So let's go to page, come on, paper, book, open. That's simple. Let's go to page 22. Okay, page 22. Everybody let me know when you're there. Page 22. Now I want to do this just with the, between the bass drum and the snare drum. No, I don't walk. I'm too old. All right, we're on page 22. Everybody there? Page 22, guys, in the syncopation book. Ryan, you're my neighbor. Is that oh boy. Okay, you have the gray truck. You come by with your young lady. Is that you, Ryan? I really don't have any Ryans as a neighbor, unless that's the guy with your gray truck. You just moved into the neighborhood, correct? Page 22, here we go. Okay, let's start with the triplet on top. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to play the melody line with the bass drum. Made a mistake there. You got it? Oh, okay. Now I know who you are. Okay, line 1 again. Triplet on the top. Everybody understand it, or they want me to break it down? It's a lot more complicated, more thought process than this. I'm a rock drummer. Go play bars and all that shit, not be an artist, be an alkie, and pick up some girls or whatever. All right. Marcio, you're late. I told you 12:30 last night. Inga-da-bunga. Okay, Paul, Rob. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for visiting, man. Okay, Jimmy, you understand it? Paul, Robert, who else? Where is everybody today? I haven't seen Dennis in a while. Gavin, do you understand it? Oh boy, this delay drives me crazy. You got it. All right. Well, these are, I could make this really complicated, but I don't want to. And I don't want to overwhelm you. But let me ask you guys a question. We're going over this polyrhythmic stuff, and there's a lot of reasons why. And I'm curious as to hear, no problem, Marcia. I'm curious to see or listen or know what you think, why this is beneficial or it's helpful. You can write me sentences, no problem. No paragraphs or books, just a couple sentences. Marcio, Ryan left. Jimmy, Paul, Bob, Gavin. Tell me why you think this is beneficial. What are we accomplishing here? Because we're going to work with polyrhythms, the 3 against 4 a lot, and 5 against 2. You have no clue why. When you're playing these, Robert, your mind is like intense, isn't it? You're trying to think of what's the 4, what's the 3. Absolutely builds coordination. You have no clue. You know, I could be a jive-ass teacher and say, okay, let's play some funk, and this is line 28, then tomorrow we'll do line 29 until we hit line 40, and then next page. That's bullshit. This is all related to what you do. You're telling that left hand what to do. You're telling the right hand what to do. You're reading, and you're keeping time. That's a lot going on. That's intense coordination. Now I'm going to show you up the line somewhere how the 3 against 5 against 4 against 2 is all related to the same thing. But before we can do that, it's like this is A, this is B, this is C, until you get to Z. You know? So you do these exercises, they're developing strength for you. You know, we're not playing a big band chart. We're not playing a melody. We're not doing any song structure. I'm giving the mechanics of a polyrhythm and its variables, how we could practice the polyrhythms, like the 3, the R equals the 3, the L equals the 3, or the R equals the 4, the L 4, you know, so on and so forth. The R equals 4 rights, the L equals 4 lefts. Or I could say play it down in paradiddles. 3 with the bass drum, paradiddles with the hands. Yeah, well, it does. It's most definitely when you start to practice this slowly with the metronome, you most definitely are going to start hearing a lot of different things. Now, you're a teacher too, Robert. Believe me. Everyone here is a teacher. Like I said, we are all created equal when it comes to drumming. I don't want to get into any other nonsense, but that's how I look at it. Everyone here is created equal. However, I've been playing 100 years. Marcio's been playing 10 years. So I'm in a different place, but we're all on the same journey. And that journey is to learn and get better and understand it and be creative. It's simple. And that's what it is to be creative. And yeah, don't, you know, like the teacher and the student, you know, I always learn from all my students, no matter who they are, no matter how long I've been playing. I see something that I give them a prescription to get better, and they do get better, and I learn by that. Okay, so now, everybody understands what we did today, or you want me to go over it again? I did start a lot earlier today. If you don't understand the 3 against 2 or the 3 against 4, if you look at the PDF sheet, okay, the first one, I mean, it's just, come on, where is it? It's just an introduction, all right? The figure that we're working with is the second line, 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the. It's actually 3E. All right, now you look at this third line, it's simple. It's actually an 8th note triplet. You're playing the third line. It's written in quarter notes. It's in 3/4. I'm going 1, 2, 3, and I'm playing my bass drum. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So in terms of polyrhythmic patterns, that technically is 1 against 3. It's a quarter note against an 8th note triplet. Then line 2 is 3 against 2. All right, my snare drum is playing the 3, and my hi-hat is playing the 2. So I have 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, but you must count it at this point. You're not going to feel it. I'm feeling that. That's from hours of going like this. 1, 2, 3. 1E and the 2E and the 3. 1, 2, 3. Now when you do this slow with that left hand, there's a couple different options here. I'm playing it without the accent, the triplet. Get that going on. Then you want to add an accent to the downbeat. Then you want to accent the last stroke. Okay, now notice what I'm doing at. You know, if I said, okay, you should practice that left hand, one and two, and by itself, that's easy. But now you're playing against it, which makes it not difficult, but it slows you down to get that same feel with that left hand and get the two sounds, the accent and the non-accent, and the level. You son of a bitch. Ah. Oh, we're going to have a whole lot of fun. I got a whole lot of writing to do. Now, you're going to get all these PDF sheets when, I can't guarantee you when, but you will. Okay? Now, you understand what I'm doing with that triplet? All right. Well, I had enough for this afternoon. Started at 12:30. It's almost 1:30. We'll be back tonight, 7 p.m., guys. Okay? Any questions before I go away? Now, Hoist and Stacy and Dennis haven't been to the last 3 lessons. Okay, just practice that all the afternoon. We'll continue on it tonight. Okay, guys? You're welcome. Paul, practice it. Jimmy? Marcio? Who else? Paul, Jimmy. Where's everybody? Gavin? Yuri? Okay. We'll see everybody tonight, 7 p.m. Have a good day.